everybody, Young Grasshopper here. Welcome to the Cliffside Bunker in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And this is a quick episode as part of my video series I'm calling Tips, Tricks, and Tidbits. And I want to make a suggestion for you guys. Take a look. I have the cardboard slabs that come with the game, 1940 Global 2nd Edition. Now I'm going to be in the near future replacing these with a printed one-piece map and talking all about that. But I want to discuss my printed slabs that I got out of box while I have them on the table. And we have an issue when it comes to the C-zones. Let's take a look. So for those that are going to continue with these cardboard pieces because maybe they cannot afford a one-piece map, or they don't live in an area with a local print shop that can do large format printing, we have an issue when it comes to like these C zones. Take a look, and the symbols, the kamikaze zone symbols and the convoy symbol, they're very dark and they're contrasted again with a backdrop that is a very dark color for a C zone. And you know, obviously the solution would be to just make these a more bright ink, but they didn't do it that way. That makes these extremely difficult to see, especially during gameplay. This is important information that we need to know. Kamikaze zones, convoy zones, it's going to affect our war effort. Now let's do something here to help. We've got here some tokens that come with the game. These are the kamikaze tokens, the cardboard pieces. Now on a side note, I would suggest maybe swapping these out for something a little bit more unique, like an actual plastic fighter piece for the Japanese. Maybe go into one of your franchise games that you have on the shelf. The classic edition fighters for Japan are good. They've got a good contrast of color. You can put them in your tray. 6 of those. They can be your kamikaze pilots, and we can use these now to put on the board. And they're just going to help us identify where the kamikaze C zones are. As the American player, as an allied player, you don't want to just walk into a situation with enough boats that you think to deal with a battle against a Japanese fleet, and then all of a sudden he's like, I'm going to bring out all 6 of my tokens. You lose some important ships because of that. And it's like all because you didn't recognize it as a kamikaze zone, just because they're very faint, very hard to see. Now, this doesn't help with the convoy symbols on the board. And there's all kinds of convoy symbols on the board. There's nothing that comes with the game itself to help us with that. Not like these kamikaze tokens, but you know, you can go to HBG and pick up a few things. Even these are difficult to see for some people, and it's a 3D piece. A lot of people don't like 3D pieces on their board because when they bring in a major fleet, you know, this thing gets moved around, it's in the way. But let's back up and let's show you the HBG tokens. These are acrylic. They're easier to pick up than these here. I don't have any nails, but trust me, they are easier to pick up. So let's remove these and replace them with the HBG acrylic tokens. And they pop out much, much better. Sure, there's still a 3D unit, but there's no mistaking where the kamikaze C zones are. Now, when it comes to convoying, I mean, it's already problematic. The fact that the convoy disruption phase happens during the turn or at the end of the turn of the nation that is getting convoyed, not the nation that is doing the convoying. Let's, for example, say that Japan just takes these. All right. And there is an Anzac submarine already here. Now, Japan just says, okay, I'm finished. I collect my money. They count it up, they move on, they say, all right, next turn. And then it comes all the way to Anzac's turn. It's like, wait a minute, I'm in a convoy zone here. I didn't realize it. because it's so faint, it's hard to see. And they realize they should have done a convoy disruption, but you know, sometimes a Japan player will say, oh well, too bad, you snooze, you lose. Actually, the rule book says that all players must look for and point out convoy disruptions when possible. So actually, it's everybody's job. So what we do around our group is that if it was missed, then that sub, if we can determine that yes, it was there when these were Japan, or even when this one is still Japan, they go ahead and convoy, even if it's during the turn in which they're going to convoy again. But remember, Anzac comes and does their turn, and they're here, and they're like, oh, I forgot the convoy, but they don't do it on their turn. They have to wait until the end of Japan's turn. Now, let's say, you know, this doesn't get moved or does not get destroyed by Japan. What we want to do is, once we identify it, and it's still true and the situation's still there, we want to tag it, and now it pops. You know, it's easy for everybody to look and spot convoy disruption possibilities when you've got this big bright, you know, acrylic marker on the table. So that's what we do. Now obviously you could put, you know, convoy tokens all over the place, you know, but that's too much. You know, that's way too much markers on the board. You got to have some room for the fleets. Now I'm showing you this to show you that only this is necessary. Now if this moves out of the way, or if it's destroyed by a Japanese boat or whatever, then we just remove that. It's no longer viable, it's no longer possible. So just a few things that you might want to do to help these C zones pop. It is problematic that the design of the boards didn't account for this. You know, they're hard to see. This is important information. So you can use the tokens that come in the game. You can use the nice acrylic pieces that come from HBG. Do some shopping over there and see what he has available. Now over there, he does have these that I showed you, but he also has these. These are really nice as well. They're just thicker. They're the roundel style quality, and they have a nice printed roundel on them. So for example, if that submarine was there, you could put the Anzac convoy there saying, you know, Anzac is going to convoy, or you could put the Japanese convoy symbol there, just basically saying that it is Japan that is going to get convoy. So two different styles. Make sure that you choose the right one, you know, before he ships them to you or whatnot. So just a little hint, guys, a little suggestion to make your gameplay a little easier. If you're going to keep these slabs, these cardboard pieces from out of box, of course on the printed map that I'm going to show you later, the symbols are done with white and they pop, and none of this really is necessary. Now that being said, you know, we still like to make sure that, for example, we still like to make sure that we tag convoys that are possible, so that we're reminded and the information is there. And of course, when this is destroyed or moves out of the way, we take that off, and it's just easier to look around the board and see those blue markers and, hey, is this a convoy? Am I being convoyed here? So thanks a lot, guys. Cheers. This might be helpful for you. Might be you know, a waste of time for you to watch videos like these. That's why I mark my videos nicely with thumbnails, so that you can skip what you don't need. Obviously, it's not going to be the kind of content that veterans are going to appreciate. Maybe they have their own solutions for stuff like this. I'm just sharing with you things that I learned along the way. As for new players, it might help you, and might help you get into the habit of doing some things. Makes the game easier, more efficient during gameplay. Cheers. Thanks, guys. May all your rolls be ones. Take care. And until the next vid, take care.